Hello, here we are, getting ready to do lesson 10, day 5, making bar graphs. How do you make a bar graph? To show data. Use the bar graph to solve the problem. Draw or write to show what you did. Alrighty, here we go. So the title of this bar graph is Writing Tools in the Box. Our writing tools would be chalk, crayon, markers, and pencil. Here's where it says writing tools, so I know what each of those are. Here's our scale from 0 to 6. This would be the number of writing tools. So I want to check out chalk. There is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 pieces of chalk in our writing tool box. In the crayon box, coming up to the top of the vertical bar graph, and I can see, excuse me, that there are 4. And I'm coming up to the top of the marker, which puts me at 3, like the blue one, and all the way up to the top of the yellow bar, which puts me at 5. Now the question says, down here at the bottom, says, how many writing tools are in the box? Well, I'm going to have to add 3, 4, 5, and 3. And that's what you're going to have to do in order to find out how many writing tools there are. And if you need to pause the video so that you can write down these numbers, you are welcome to do that. And I'm going to go over to the next page. So Abel read 2 books. Jane read 4 books, Carla read 1 book, and Jamala read 3 books. Your job is to complete this bar graph to show the data. So you're looking at books read. Here's the number of books on this side from 0 to 5. Here's Abel with his 2 books. Here's Jane with her 4 books. Here's Kara, she read 1 book, and Jamala, she read 3 books. So your job is to finish filling in the bar model. Not the bar model, to fill in the bar graph. Okay, then you're going to come down and do the same thing on this particular one. They're giving you the data. Ella is making a bar graph to show the kinds of pets her classmates have. The title of her bar graph is Our Pets. The types of pets are dogs, cats, birds, and fish. And the number of classmates that have those, there would be 5 classmates who had a dog, which is right there. 7 classmates have a cat. 2 classmates have a bird, 3 classmates have a fish. You are going to write the labels, which they've almost put them in for you, but you can trace over them. Because in a few minutes, you're not going to be able to have anything written. You're going to have to figure that part out for yourself. And then you're going to fill in the bars, like we did on this first one, and then answer these 2 questions. Now we're coming over to Dexter. Same thing here. You're going to use this horizontal bar graph to talk about the classmates and their favorite pizza topping. 4 classmates chose peppers. Well, here's where 4 is, right here. So I'm going to have to draw my bar clear over to here. You're going to have to indicate or make up a title. So you're thinking about what is this bar graph about. You're going to make up a title, and you're also going to tell what does the scale represent. Don't forget that these are the toppings over on this side. So not only do you have to do the bars, but this time you have to give it a title. You have to identify the categories over on this side and explain what the numbers or the scale represent on this particular bar graph. And then you need to answer these 2 questions. Did more classmates choose peppers and olives than meat? Okay, be very careful because that is a 2-step problem to do problem number 6. Then you are moving on and doing the same thing on this page about Cody. You are going to have to fill in the title about what this is going to be about. You're going to need to represent what the scale represents and also what the categories are. You're going to have to read the problem so that you'll know what to do with each of these. And the data is right here. Here's the data that you're going to need to use. Okay, and also you're going to look at this bar graph above, this one after you get it finished, and you're going to try to answer question number 9. This is very similar to what we did on yesterday's assignment. Then we're coming over and we're finally on the exit ticket. So your exit ticket, remember, is this whole page. That would be problems 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, including the next problem on the next page. That's part of your exit ticket. That needs to go to your teacher. There's your exit ticket for this assignment. And you're going to have to read to find out what you need to do in order to be able to solve this problem. And then you're going to come down, do problem number 2. I'm going to help you just a little bit with problem number 3. This time we're using an inch ruler. What is the length of the yarn to the nearest inch? This time I'm going to use the inch side of my ruler, lining up my 0 with the beginning point of this piece of yarn and taking it out to the end point. Oops, there we go. So there's the beginning point and the end point, and you have to identify how many inches that is. Then you're going to talk about Gail, who finished studying at 1:15. What time did Gail finish studying at 1:15? And then you have another money problem with 2 $1 bills, 1 quarter, and 1 nickel. How much money does Jill have? All right, so that's what you're going to be doing. I'm going to go back to the beginning. You need to make sure that you finish everything. And before you do the exit ticket, you probably ought to check with me to make sure you know what you're doing. And then you can go ahead and do your exit ticket, and you'll be done with today's assignment. So go ahead and pause the video, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Pause the video. Okay, are you back? Okay, this time I did my key on a black and white copy because I didn't have enough for my face-to-face students, so I did a black and white copy. If you said that there were 15 writing tools, congratulations, you're absolutely correct, because when you add 3 and 4 and 3 and 5, you get 15. Alrighty, so that's pretty easy. On this model and draw, Abel had 2 books, Chang read 4 books, Kara read 1 book, and Jamalia read 3 books. Make sure that that 4 lines up with the 4 on the scale, that the 2 lines up with the 2 on the scale, that the 1 lines up with the 1 on the scale, and that the 3 lines up with the 3 on the scale. Okay? Now, on our class pets, 5 was for people who had dogs, lining up with the 5. People who had cats was 7, lining up with the 7. People who had birds was 2, lining up with the 2. And the people who had fish lining up with the 3. Okay, how will the bar graph change if one more child gets a bird? So if one more child got a bird, this one, there would be one more bird and the bar would be taller. And the bird side would be, there would still be 3 birds, but it would be, wait a second, I gotta think about that for a sec. Almost doubted myself for a second. Instead of having 2 birds, there would then be 3 birds. Okay, continuing on. Now here's the one about the classmates and their favorite pizza topping. Yours does not have to be exactly like mine, but it needs to say something about pizza toppings and the ones that kids like the best. Pepperonis was 4. It has to line up with my scale. Meat was 7. Needs to line up with my scale. And mushrooms was 5, needs to line up with my scale. and olives was 2 needs to line up with my scale. Of course, this is a horizontal bar graph, and the ones that we did over on this page were vertical bar graphs, and it doesn't really matter. The number scale down below represents the number of classmates. So this would be 4 classmates who liked peppers, 7 classmates who liked meat, 5 classmates who liked mushrooms, and 2 classmates who liked olives. Which topping did most of the children choose? I hope you said meat. Did more classmates choose peppers and olives than meat? Then you have to explain. There was 4 kids who chose peppers right there. There were 2 kids who chose olives, and I have to combine those together. So I added 4 and 2 to get 6. Then I had to compare that with meat. Meat was 7, so 6 is less than 7, so more kids chose meat rather than olives or peppers. So hopefully you got that one right as well. Now we're flying along on to our next one, which is favorite zoo animals. The scale on this side is the number of kids who liked those animals. And down across the bottom, they are the types of animals that were at the zoo. And of course, a title could be favorite zoo animals. Alrighty, so according to my data, there were 6 students who chose a bear. There were 4 students who chose a lion. There was 7 students who chose a tiger, and there were 3 students who chose a zebra. How many fewer classmates chose a lion than chose the other zoo animals? So I've got to figure out all of the other zoo animals minus the lion. So here's my lion with 4. So I'm going to have to add 6, 7, and 3, which I did. 6 plus 7 plus 3 gave me 16. 16, take away the number of people who liked the lion. 16 take away 4 was 12. Therefore, there were 4 fewer classmates who liked the lion when compared with the rest of the animals in the zoo. So now you were supposed to look at the bar graph above and suppose 2 of Cody's classmates chose the zebra instead of the bear. How would the bar graph change? The zebra bar, of course, would get taller and would go up to 5. The bear bar graph would drop down to 4 and would be smaller. So you have to think about what you started with. With a zebra, we started with 3, and 2 more kids were added to that one, so it would put it up to 5. The bear started out with 6, but it's going down to, it would drop down to 4, and it would be a smaller bar. Alrighty, so then you have to do the exit ticket, which we've already talked about. And that goes over to the next page. And let's go over the review questions. Rachel's chain was 22 centimeters long. She takes 9 centimeters off the chain. How long is Rachel's chain now? I hope you realize that that was a subtraction problem. 22 take away 9. Well, I can't take 9 ones away from 2 ones, so I had to decompose a 10. That decomposed 10 came over into my ones. 10 ones plus 2 ones was 12 ones. 12 ones take away 9 ones was 3 ones. When I decomposed that 10, that left me with 1 10. 1 10 take away 0 tens left me with 13 tens. When you measured this piece of yarn, measuring the piece of yarn, it was starting with the beginning of my yarn at 0 inches going over to the end of the yarn, which was 2 inches. So I hope you said that that was 2 inches. And Gail finished studying at 1:15. What time did she finish? Well, the hour was 1, and 1/4 is going 1/4 of the way around the clock. 1/4 of the way is 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15. So 1/4 of the way around would be 15 minutes. And then if we're counting Jill's money, $1 going up 1 gives me $2, up 1/4 to $2.25, up another nickel puts me at $2.30. So make sure you get your exit ticket completed and get that sent off to your teacher. And you have yourself a fantastic day of learning.